Hey everyone, guess what? My temporary office is as complete as possible. So I tried to light my hidden horror sign, but it's not visible. So I'm sorry, it's there, but I can't really light it. Or I'll try it maybe the next video or whatever. But man, I've been going through it, family. The people they do not feel that Jennifer Crumbley should have been convicted. And I'm here today. I'm here to talk about it. I'm like mentally drained because of the verdict. And not so much the verdict, the fact that so many people they're concerned that, oh, my gun rights, and is this going to cause me to be prosecuted if my somebody in my household, my child does something like bad? Am I going to be prosecuted? No, this is not to push out fear to the public. This is just one case with very egregious circumstances, egregious behavior, neglect, um, negligence. Negligence and neglect. They're spelled a lot alike for a reason. It's not anybody that this happens to, right? First, Ethan was a minor. If you want to have your child practice shooting a gun, learning about guns, you can take them to a gun range. You don't have to buy your child, your minor, a gun. You can take them to the gun range. You can let them see and practice with various sizes, a 22, a 9 millimeter, a 40 cal, a 50 caliber, AR. It's all types of weapons that they have, and you don't have to buy one. You can safely take them. They can have some target practice. They can learn about guns. You can take them to really get some knowledge, right? Learn the gun laws. This is not the case. The case that has been set before us is a complete set of circumstances. There was not a one thing that the jury could really look to say this is this is the one reason why I said yes, this person is guilty. I'm going to go over a few again because I literally have people feeling like this is a mistake. She really didn't do anything. Oh, the affair wasn't a big deal. The horses wasn't a big deal. She liked horses. There's nothing wrong with having pets and liking pets. And I'm not gonna say there's anything wrong with an affair, but having an affair, a marital affair, is criminal in some states. It's called adultery, but people aren't prosecuted for adultery. Now, there's some other crimes that have come up, like if you're alienating a person's love interest and you're the person having an affair, that spouse might sue you for alienating affection, things like that. Some crimes like that are on the books, but in all reality, for the most part, it was not like a one thing situation. It is really a set of egregious circumstances. Now, I'm only referring to Jennifer Crumbley. I'm not talking about James Crumbley, okay? So I'm only talking about Jennifer Crumbley right now. There was a set of very egregious circumstances, and I'm going to go over them because I literally have people like freaking out a little bit, being upset, feeling like this could happen to them. No, do your due diligence, okay? If you have someone in your home or a minor that's visiting your home, please either get you a gun safety lock or purchase a gun case. They're not that expensive. Now, if you have guns like ARs, those are going to be a lot larger, and then they're going to be over $100. But if you live alone, you really don't have to worry about this because you're not having like a lot of people come and go. But if you feel that someone underage will have access and maybe possibly take your GUN or try to play with it, no. Every gun owner, we want you to be responsible. We don't want you to be accountable on the other side of the law, where now they're looking at you possibly for some charges for not properly storing the weapon. store the weapon, put it away. If you have a small child, make sure that it's locked away. It's in a high place that they can't get to. They can't break into that, or you put a lock on there, okay? Now, if you live alone, if you don't have any kids and things like that, hey, you can sleep in the bed right next to your GUN, right? And, for protection or whatever you're using it for. But point being, most people typically, like in this community, they go hunting, they take their kid hunting, so they're not using a weapon like a 9mm or a 2.5 or a 2.2 or a burst of 380, guns like that. No, they're usually going out with a rifle, shotgun, something like that, right? So they're not looking for those type of people. They're not looking for like a hunting type of person. These are people that are putting very powerful weapons that's going to have 9 shots, 10 shots, an extended clip. I can recall Ethan Crumbley saying that he had 3 clips, and each clip held 16 bullets. So in my mind, that was 48 bullets, or it might have been 13 bullets. Anyway, multiple ammunition, right? Rapid fire type of weapon. Whereas the average person that's starting younger and teaching their son, primarily their son, it could be daughters too, but primarily their son about weapons, about hunting and things like that, they're not giving them this type of weapon. They're starting off with something completely different. Maybe when they're little, a BB gun at first, then a rifle, then a shotgun, and so forth. You only typically get like this type of handgun if you're carrying it, probably for concealment purposes. You want something smaller, a 2.2 or 2.5, or even a 9mm. Maybe you work in law enforcement or security or armored car or something like that, where you're carrying, a gun like this. Otherwise, you typically don't see minors with these type of weapons. So that's something that I wanted to just say. But I'm going to go over a few things that's out there. So let me just, okay. All right. I'm going to want to read this news article that's just talking about the verdict. And this verdict has rang all across the country, not just in the United States. It's been a really big deal. And some of the family members have come out and they've made statements. I was going to show them, but just for sake of time, I've shared them and you can watch them, or maybe I'll show something. I'm not sure, but I'm going to go, let's see, to abcnews.go.com. The article is dated February 6, 2024. It's titled, Jury Finds Jennifer Crumbley Guilty of Involuntary Manslaughter in Son's School Shooting. The author is Nadine L. Bawat. And it reads as follows. A jury has found Jennifer Crumbley, the mother of Michigan school shooter Ethan Crumbley, guilty of involuntary manslaughter in connection with the shooting deaths of 4 students at Oxford High School in November 2021. Okay. Crumbley was found guilty of 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter in connection with the shooting, 1 for each victim: Madisyn Baldwin, 17, Tate Myre, 16, Justin Shilling, 17, and Hana St, Juliana, 14. Now, we do know there were other people injured, but they were not, unalive. Okay, the jury deliberated for roughly 11 hours, beginning on Monday morning, and the sentencing is scheduled for April the 9th. Jennifer and James Crumbley are a rare case of parents being charged in connection with a shooting carried out by their son, James Crumbley, who also faces 4 counts of involuntary I'm sorry, I'm going to read this again. Jennifer and James Crumbley are a rare case of parents being charged in connection with a shooting carried out by their son. Period. James Crumbley, who also faces 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, will have a separate trial in March. So that'll be the early part of next month. The jury foreperson told an ABC News producer as she was walking to her car that the verdict came down to the fact that Jennifer was the last adult with the GUE, the gun. Now, we've already talked about this a little bit. I'm just going to reiterate. The night before the mass shooting, Ethan did a 19-minute video where allegedly Jennifer Crumbley locked him out of the house. She said in her courtroom testimony, Jennifer Crumbley said that she took his gun from him. Okay? So, from her own words, the night before the mass shooting, she took his gun. So if she took his gun, that means that if he had access the next day with the same gun, it could not have been properly stored and locked away. That is very simple. But okay, I'm still going to lay it down for you. I'm going to lay it out nice and pretty for you. Ethan Crumbley, who was 15 years old at the time of the shooting, has been sentenced to life in prison for unaliving 4 students and injuring 7 others at Oxford High School. He had pleaded guilty to 24 charges, including first-degree premeditated murder and terrorism causing death. So let me just say this. I'm going to continue the article and I'm going to play the video. But I want to say this. Yesterday, before the verdict came out, I was planning, and I'm still going to do it, but probably not tomorrow. I was planning doing a quick video just to give you guys an update on what's really happening with Ethan now. He's been, he had his Miller hearing, he's been sentenced, and now he's kind of settling into what is happening with his life going forward. So I wanted to give like a little update on him to kind of discuss, where he's at, what kind of facility is he in, things like that, to just kind of update everybody about him. And I'm still going to do it. It's just, I might not do it tomorrow because I've been doing quite a few videos and my voice, I was losing my voice yesterday. So I have to kind of be careful because, I still feel like I have that dormant cold, like the cold is still there, but it's not really bringing me completely down. But that last night I was losing my voice because I was handling a lot of things. I am like extremely busy. You guys have no idea the level of busyness I have for my life. But I was doing a little research. I was getting a little bit of information, and I know Ethan is turning 18 on April 28th. So I know once he turns 18, he's no longer technically a minor. And what I was going to do, I was going to reach out to him because I don't want to do it as he is still legally a minor at 17. So I was going to wait until the end of April, and I was going to just write him and just express to him, concern, care, love. I'm keeping him in my thoughts, as well as all the victims, their families, everybody, the administration, the Oxford community, just everybody. But I was going to write to him to just try to connect with him, not to find out anything. I don't have any questions for him or anything, but just to show him people do care about you. You did a very bad thing. You made a mistake, nothing that we can change. The families, I pray that they can heal, they can forgive him. He was not making good choices. I don't think he received the support that he needed. I definitely know he asked for it. And, nobody entered into his life with direction, with positivity to pull him out of that dark place. So I am going to reach out to Mr. Crumbley. But I'm going to wait until he turns 18 because then he will be technically and legally an adult. And I just want to show some support, show some concern, send him some good energy, things like that. So I want to do a separate video. I have found out where he's at and everything. I was doing my little research yesterday before the verdict, and then the verdict hit, and then I didn't have any time to come on. I was up like doing some serious stuff till late in the hours, and I had planned it and I was trying to fit it into my schedule, but I just could not get around to coming and spending this time with you. So I am going to plan that out, and I'm going to encourage everybody to show Mr. Crumbley some love also. He is still alive. He can change. He needs support. He needs prayers. And right now we know that Jennifer Crumbley, she is going to be sentenced now for each count. So for each count that she was convicted of, which is 4 counts, 4 deaths, that she can receive 15 years for each count. So we know that at some point she's going to be sentenced. I believe the sentencing is April the 9th. So we have some time between now and then. And, more than likely, if they do allow her to write Ethan, it would just be in a written form, So he still needs some support, some positivity. And then, of course, Dad is going to start his trial in a few days. So I'm going to encourage everybody to reach out to him. I'm going to provide his contact information. If everyone would just send him some positive energy. We don't have Tate. We don't have any of them anymore. They're gone. And we can't do anything about it. We can't get them back. But what we can do, we can then turn to the person that did this terrible thing and pour into him. He's going to carry on. He has so many years if he continues to live on, to go on with his life, to get a GED, maybe to learn about himself, to grow as a person. So we want to encourage that he develops, and not in this dark place, in this anger, in this rage, but in the light. Maybe it's some way that, he would get a second chance in the future over time, in years, as he pays this debt back to society. Maybe he can, come back in a positive light to encourage people. Don't go down this path. Don't do this terrible thing. This was a mistake. This was something that I regret. I recognize now I hurt a lot of people. I hurt myself. I hurt my family. I hurt my community. And I'm sorry. And although I can't bring the victims back, I can't repay them, I can't restore, I can change, and I can use my voice to help others, to encourage others to seek help, recognize these signs, look at the things that I was going through, the difficulties I faced, and how instead of, making a change and asking for help for myself, advocating for myself, waiting for, my parents to see it and, somebody to illuminate the light on me, I just didn't know how to get the help. So don't be like me, make better choices. Talk to people, try to open up about the difficulties you're going through, how you feel alone, how you feel depressed, that you're struggling, that you don't have the answers. You don't know how to handle death. You don't know how to deal with all of these actions that are occurring that you can't control. You can't control your mom not being home. You can't control your mom taking steps outside of the home and not, keeping the family centered. You can't control that dad lost his job and dad's trying his hardest and he's out there trying to figure it out. And now he's lost his mom and maybe he's struggling mentally. It was really a recipe. It was not one thing. It honestly wasn't. This is a atypical situation. This is a situation where, there was no one making that option out there for him. I see you. I see what you're going through. I can, understand how you're struggling. And I want to help you. I want to talk to you. I want to spend time with you. I want to figure out, what do you need? What helps you? Because he just didn't have that in his life. He didn't have someone that was really putting his needs first. They put their needs first. And we're going to talk about it because this is a precautionary tale. These are signs that we need to know. We need to know before something happens. Be proactive, not reactive. Okay? This is what I support. This is my platform where I encourage people. Be proactive. Look for those signs because they're there. They were, for me, they were like neon lights. Ooh, woo, look at me. Look at the attention I need. Look at what I'm not getting. I'm failing in my grades. Somebody help me at school. Stop me, talk to me, help me. I can see it. I can see it in so many different ways, but I do volunteer. You guys know I volunteer with kids. So I can see the kids that are struggling. I can see the kids that are having hard times. Sometimes the parents, they come up, they tell you, hey, my son is going through this. My daughter is having this issue. She's new to this. She's trying to, figure out things. She's trying to, make friends, meet new people. It's not easy. And kids go through so many things. They face so many challenges. If I could just do that work, I'm busy. Like, it does not stop. And you don't hear about it. You hear later, oh, my son loves you, and you changed his life, and you gave him focus, and you just encouraged him because I talked to them. I listen to them. I hear how they feel. I'm not talking to them. We're talking to each other because I ask questions. I ask them, what do you think? Tell me. What do you like? What do you want to do? Where are you going in life? Have you thought about it? How do you feel about this? When we talk about this subject, what do you want to know? What's your interest? What do you know? Because you'll be surprised. These kids know a lot of stuff that they're not telling you that's on their mind. They're just not telling you. They're not having those conversations with mom, with dad. They're not. But a person like me, they're going to talk to me because I'm an open person. They can confide in me. They can talk to me. We can talk about things. And I'm not saying bad things. I'm just saying, like, they don't even know what they want to do after college. So I ask them, what do you like to do? What's fun? What would you do that doesn't cost you any money? Like, what are your hobbies? Like, when you're done with school and it's something you want to do, what do you gravitate towards? That's how we figure it out. Like, are you a person that, wants to be in a large college, a small college? Do you want to live at home? Do you want to live on campus? Do you want the experience? You have to communicate. You have to put in the time. And it just seems like nobody saw him. Nobody saw you. And so let's continue on with the article. Okay. In a days-long trial, prosecutors presented damning evidence of the Crumbley parents who bought their son the gun used in the shooting, failing to respond to warning signs exhibited by the shooter prior to the attack. School officials had called the Crumbley parents to the school the morning of the shooting after finding violent drawings he had done on a school assignment. So he's literally sitting in class where he should be focused, he should be listening, he should be completing work. But that's not what's on his mind. It's so many signs, y'all. He's literally, physically sitting in his seat while class is ongoing, watching violent shooting videos, searching for bullets, drawing someone get shot in the back of the head with blood spurting out, saying blood is everywhere. That's what he spent his time doing. It's his thought life. If you don't want to believe anything I say, you have to look at his thought life. What did he spend his time doing? He himself said he enjoyed torturing the birds. He himself said he wanted to find a small child that he literally could kidnap and drown. He wanted to hear the screams. In one of the pictures that I showed you guys, there was a picture that he depicted of putting a bullet in the back of a young girl's head saying, I want to pick a pretty girl. I want her to suffer just like I'm suffering. Why didn't they ask Jennifer Crumbley why she said Ethan was depressed? How? Not that you said it, but why did you think it? It's the behavior, it's his mindset. You cannot hide it, I promise you. When you see these kids and they come in and they standing before you and they're mixing in, you can see the ones that's withdrawn. You can see the ones that's sad. You can see the ones that may have behavioral problems. The parents sometimes don't even have to tell you. It's going to play out. It's going to play out in the classroom. It's going to play out how they connect with each other, how they connect with the teacher, with the staff, what they say, what they do. You can't hide. There's no way that you can tell me that there were not signs. They weren't signs at the school and they weren't signs at home. Those text messages, they were more than disturbing. The fact that you really feel like there could be demons, even if it's a joke, it's a play. Why would you be texting your mother back to back to back? Old stuff is flying off the wall. I think someone else is in the house. Mom, this only happens when I'm alone, when I'm left alone. I'm sorry, but to me, he was screaming. I'm alone. When are you coming home? Can you respond to my text message? Can you answer my phone calls? Where are you? Days go by. And you want to equate this to, oh, the affairs were important. Having horses was important. That takes time. That takes focus. That takes energy. You have to drive 20, 30 minutes every time you go and see these horses and you leave your son alone. And you're going 2, 3, 5 times a week. And you tell me these horses you spent $20,000 on in 1 year between 2 accounts, only 2 accounts they looked at. You cared about these horses. You showed concern. You showed care. You spent your time there. You spent your money there. And let's not even get on the affairs. You have to take time to find people, to go online, to go on an app, to plan these meetups. And then you have to leave the home and go somewhere else and have this time. And you want to tell me, oh, it doesn't matter? Are you kidding me? When the son is at home, he's alone. He's begging for somebody to come, somebody to respond. That's anger. That's resentment. And he didn't turn his anger on his parents. I mean, they argue. Jennifer Crumbley testified the day before the mass shooting. They argued. She locked him out of the house. Was she afraid of him? Was she afraid of what he could do? Particularly because she said she took his gun. Were you afraid he would shoot you? Possibly. We got to think about it. We got to talk about it. Let's get back to this article. School officials had called the Crumbley parents to the school the morning of the shooting after finding violent drawings he had done on a school assignment. He was also caught searching online for bullets at the school, watching shooting videos in class, and drawing violent images on several other papers. Isn't it playing out at school? So what is his home life like? You saw the pictures. You saw them. A mess. 2 rooms, boarded up windows. You can't even get sunlight. When he had said the thoughts, they won't stop, how he was hearing voices, and then he said, well, one of the voices was his own telling him what to do. He needed help. In April of 2021, Jennifer Crumbley said that he was depressed. You have about 7 months, a 7-month window of time that passed. See, it's not just the fact that they purchased Ethan the gun, they purchased him the bullets. It's not just that. 7 months is a long period of time. Did you get him in a program? Did you find him a counselor? Did you get him into some activities at school? Did you spend more time with him? Did you put money into him to get him help? When I see prevention, I'm looking at all of the facts. And these are just things that came out through testimony, through them being able to place Jennifer at that farm and with the horses and not at home. Being able to show when she said that she didn't lock Ethan out of the house, but they knew he was out of the house and they had the 19-minute video to prove it. You locked him out of the house. You told your coworker the day of the shooting you locked him out of the house. You're a liar. That's why I called her a straight up liar. I didn't even try to explain, because if I could sit here and literally detail every part of this case, I would have this would be my career. I don't even talk about how he had tortured the bird and cut the head off and how he put it in a jar and it was sitting in his room. Didn't your room smell for months? I don't talk about how he went online and got the Nazi coin and how he was drawing the Nazi image on his notebooks and stuff. That's in plain sight. That's visible to anybody. I don't even bring up this stuff that, to me, is just another demonstration of how he wasn't taken seriously. You're saying his depression never amounted to him having a real mental health problem, and him asking you for counseling for mental health, and you laugh at him. I think James Crumbley told him something like, well, suck it up. You know, you have these issues, you need to suck it up. And Jennifer even told him, hey, the school's calling me. You need to find a way to get away with this. Like, you need to figure out how to do this better so they can stop calling me. She never showed concern. It's not going to take the school to call me. I might just show up at the school for a conversation about my child. I'm not waiting on nobody to call me for a damn thing. I tell you that right now. Because my child's with me. She's front and center every day, not sometimes, every day. So if it takes me to go up to that school, to go talk to them, go see what you're doing in the classroom, damn it, I'm going to sit in the classroom. There's no way in hell you're going to be drawing these images. You wouldn't have a phone to look up anything If you got time to look up these violent shootings while you're in class, and I'm going to tell you, you need to find a way to get away with it. Oh, heck no. It's not happening. No, not at all. Not at all. No, sir. No, ma'am. Let's continue on. Okay. School officials testified that the parents chose not to take their son home despite the school telling them to get him immediate help and offering them facilities that provided same day mental health care services. Why would they offer same day? Just like Jennifer Crumbley texted James Crumbley, it's an emergency. Mental health is an emergency because you can't come back. And when you put that gun in his hand, he just carried it to school with the bullets. You had no clue. You had no clue because you didn't ask questions. You didn't check the backpack. You didn't tell the school he was having mental health problems. He was depressed. You didn't tell them. You didn't check in the backpack. You didn't take your son home. You didn't. You didn't. You didn't even leave the school meeting and in your route, stop at home to confirm all of the guns were in the house and safely secure, locked away with the bullets. You didn't even do that. Maybe that step would have helped. Maybe just explaining to the school all of the circumstances, a complete disclosure of what was going on with Ethan. He had lost his best friend. His friend moved far away. His paternal grandmother had passed away. He had a hard time dealing with her death. The family dog had passed away. He had a hard time dealing with the dog passing away. His grades were behind, and he was failing. His mind, he was in school, but his mind was somewhere else. He did searches, he was online. He was exchanging videos of torturing animals. You're at the farm petting, caring for your pet horses. He's at home torturing the animals, thinking of ways to harm people. And his mindset was so corrupt. In one of his images, he actually wrote, Jeffrey Dahmer, he made a mistake. He didn't get away with it. Jeffrey Dahmer was a serial killer. He was a cannibal. And his mindset, every thought, every writing, every drawing, dark, evil, violent, with guns, blood. The night before the mass shooting, if you listen to the 19-minute video, Ethan Crumbley really detailed what he was going to do. He wrote it, he drew it. He wrote it in school, he drew it in school. Mom knew he was depressed, told people he was depressed. And the finality was when the night before the mass shooting, when she took his gun from him and locked him out of the house. He said, tomorrow is the day. Everything he wrote, everything he drew, and in the 19-minute video combined, all told the same story. In his words, I'm going to come out of that bathroom and I'm going to start the shooting. And that's exactly what he did. Listen to the video. Listen to the video for yourself. It's very concerning. He just had a deteriorating mental capacity, and nothing collided in his life to stop it. That's my opinion. Continuing on with the article. The parents told the school they could not take him home because they both had to return to work, and that if he left school, he would walk home and be alone. And we already know from Jennifer Crumbley's employer that she had a lot of flexibility. She even admitted to having affairs during work. He said it would not have been a problem. They were family oriented. They had a lot of flexibility. She had the ability to work from home. And of course, his dad, James Crumbley, he was a driver doing deliveries, a delivery driver. Why would he have to walk home? And why would he have to be alone? And this is what really kind of puts salt in the wound. When Jennifer Crumbley, she was testifying, she actually stated that she wouldn't change anything. She wouldn't change anything. But maybe one thing could have changed the entire day. Take your son home. Check the backpack. Tell the school about his depressive state. Tell the school about purchasing him the gun and the bullets. Take him for mental health counseling. They had people available same day. Go home and check to verify and confirm that all the weapons were there, all the bullets were there. She said she wouldn't change anything. It was very cold, very dark. School officials who were worried about his mental health did not think it was a good idea for him to be alone, since they were concerned he was considering suicide. I think the school, when they looked at the imagery, because there was a figure that possibly could have been a man, and that there was the blood coming out of the head, maybe that's what made them feel it could be suicidal thoughts. It's hard because when I watched the testimony, and I believe he was like the guidance counselor, he really, to me, he showed concern. You could tell, you could feel that he cared. It's just maybe if the Crumbleys, either James or Jennifer, would have informed him about the GU and the gun, about his depressed state, or just that, he's been having a hard time. We're concerned too. And, he's had a lot going on, and, pretty much, these are things that's happening with him. So when we see this image, if it's possible suicide, we don't want to leave him alone either. So we will take the steps, make adjustments with work, take him to the counseling. One thing could have possibly changed it all. But it didn't happen. It didn't happen. The parents chose to send him back to class and told the school that they would get him mental health care. Jennifer Crumbley and her attorney, Shannon Smith, argued that the school had been nonchalant during the meeting and did not insist he be taken home. During trial, the CEO of the company where Jennifer Crumbley worked testified, that she could have left work if she needed to care for her son, or she could have brought him back with her to the office. So he could have even returned to her job. They were okay with her bringing him into the office, which is great. That's a nice work-life balance, right? On the stand, Crumbley admitted that she would have been able to not return to work. In text messages she sent after the shooting, Jennifer Crumbley told a man she was having an affair with, longtime friend Brian Malash, that the shooting could have been prevented and that the school should not have allowed him to return to class. But how did the school not allow him? You refuse. You can say, and I'm just going to lay it out. You can say, I need you as the parent to pick your child up. You can't make the parent come and pick the child up. You can say, your child is sick and we want your child to go home. Your child has behavior issues. We want you to pick your child up. Your child isn't feeling good. Your child threw up. Your child had an accident. Pick your child up. You cannot make them do it. That's the thing. You can say all of these things after the fact. The reality is the parent refused. If the school is making a recommendation, it is just that. We recommend this. We require that. We want you to do this. But it's still a part of the parent to meet those needs. And on the flip side, she's saying it could have been prevented. It's like, take responsibility. Ethan Crumbley's parents purchased him the gun he used in the shooting as a gift and had taken him to the shooting range before the attack. Prosecutors argued that the parents did not secure the gun or limit their son's access to it. Jennifer Crumbley testified it was her husband's responsibility to ensure the gun was stored securely and that their son could not access it. One of the arguments made by her lawyer was that she did not know guns well. Okay, I'm just going to keep this really short. If you have a weapon like a gun that comes with information on how to store it properly, they come with a gun lock, and when you get training, they're going to tell you the number one thing with guns is safety. That is it. Particularly if there is any type of minor. You don't want them to have access. You don't want them to have the ability, plus the bullets and the gun together. No, that's a big no. So when she says and testifying all of this, I don't really know, I'm not responsible. It doesn't work like that. You're responsible. It's just that simple. You're responsible. You're responsible. You're the adult. You're the adult in the situation. You set the tone. You set the boundaries. You have to have taken action to secure it safely and separately from those bullets. And it's just that simple. I mean, you're not going to get around that. Smith also argued that in Oxford, where the shooting happened, it is common for students to go hunting with guns. A school official testified that many seniors take prom portraits with their guns and that they often need to be reminded not to come to school with their guns during hunting season. But again, hunting season is not going to be with a 2.5, a 9mm, a 380, a 40 cal. That's just not what they use. And this is clearly for shooting. Okay. The parents of several of the students killed in the Oxford school shooting told Good Morning America Tuesday they were pleased with the verdict. Steve St. Juliana, the father of Hana St. Juliana, said he was initially shocked and then relieved. The shock is, I guess, I didn't truly believe that they would come back with the guilty verdict. And then obviously just relief that they had, he said. They just looked at the evidence and used common sense and came back with the right verdict. Now, I will say this. When the verdict came about, I don't know how you felt, but I felt almost like their spirits were soaring. Like as if the angels just allowed their spirits to soar. I felt very much like, wow, all of this work, all of this reviewing the evidence, talking about the testimony, Ethan took responsibility and pleaded guilty, but the parents are not. So it was as if their souls were free. That's how I felt yesterday. And I tried my best to get on here. I had set up the live and I just could not get to it. I tried until almost about 11:30. I couldn't get to it. I was exhausted. I had helped people yesterday. I had a full day of responsibilities. And I had been getting a lot of pushback from people about my views. So I was just standing up for justice, standing up for the victims and their families, and even the prosecution and some of, the testimony and evidence. And I'm not backing down and I'm not changing my position. And I don't feel like there was a mistake. I don't. If I did, I would say that I'm a straight shooter. In this case, I'm not saying make this, an example. I'm saying in this case, the facts were so egregious that I felt this was the right verdict, in my opinion, okay, from reviewing everything, okay? Okay, Craig Shilling, the father of Justin Shilling, said it came down to accountability. There's this type of culpability out there now that gross negligence is not acceptable in society, he said. I hope it resonates in the minds of everybody for a long time, and I just hope that it creates some type of a change as it pertains to school shootings, these mass shootings, and shootings in general. Well, we definitely need more accountability. We need more guns off the street because we're experiencing a level of mass shootings where there's more than one mass shooting a day. So, it could happen. It could happen, and we want to find a way to reduce that number so people feel safe when they go to work, when kids go to school, when they go to large areas like the mall, for example. We want people to feel protected and that they're not going to enter a place, a movie theater, go to the maybe a circus or something and be a part of a mass shooting. Okay. Um, Buck Myre, the father of Tate Myre, said he would like to see accountability for what he called the whole systematic failure that led to the shooting. It's easy to point the finger at the gun, he said. That's the only thing that's being addressed is the gun side of things instead of the systematic side of things. It also needs to be addressed. And I agree wholeheartedly with you, Mr. Myre. And that's why I'm doing these videos. They are for educational purposes. They are for you to take this information and apply it to your life. Share this information. Learn something, pick up on things that you can apply to your life, okay? To help to make improvements in the community. In a turn of events, Jennifer Crumbley came under fire when a witness took the stand, Maloche, and it was revealed they were having an affair at the time of the shooting. In a previous ruling, Judge Cheryl Matthews had excluded all evidence pointing to Crumbley's extramarital affair from being used in the trial. But during the defense's questioning, Smith suggested that police intimidated and threatened Meloche into providing his testimony. So prosecutors pushed back and sought to allow the judge to include evidence that the two had an affair. Prosecutors argued that Meloche was not pressured, but that he did want information about their affair to become public. So Brian Meloche was having an affair with Jennifer Crumbley. When everything unfolded, the police could see their text exchange. And of course, if they're going to question him, he's a private citizen. He probably didn't want the affair to become public because it's attaching the affair to possibly why she wasn't around for her son. I mean, this is common sense. So I can understand why he didn't want the affair to become public. And the judge actually agreed, and it was not allowed. And then the defense opened the door and used him. Um, and that testimony was allowed about the affair. The information regarding the affair was admitted into evidence, and Crumbley later confirmed the affair when she took the stand. In her own defense, she testified that they were having a 6-month affair at the time of the shooting, meeting in a Costco parking lot during work hours. Prosecutors argued that she spent a significant amount of time on her affair and taking care of her horses, often leaving her son alone and ignoring his messages. Crumbley said her affair only took place while her son was at school and that she always offered to take him with her when she went to see her horses, but he was not interested. Well, we know that was not true. She was having multiple affairs. We don't have to go into great detail, but she was meeting the people during trips and work-related things and during work, all of that. So we don't even have to discuss that. We'll just bypass that. Prosecutors then pressed Jennifer Crumbley on her testimony, revealing that she had multiple affairs and together with Meloche had arranged meetups using Adult Friend Finder. Prosecutors revealed she had been using the app just 2 days before the shooting, but she did not meet up with anyone on that day. Smith sought to defend Jennifer Crumbley as a mother who was doing the best that she could, at times giving examples from her own life as a mother and saying her house was just as messy as the photos the jury was shown on Crumbley's home. And this is the weird thing, right? In the beginning, Jennifer Crumbley described herself as a helicopter mom, excellent mom, exceptional mom, doing everything she can, being there for her son. But as the closing arguments came, it was a very different tone. Her attorney actually was kind of comparing herself to Jennifer Crumbley, how messy the house was, I would do this and my kids complain about that. So it was just a really turn, and it was not comparable or likened to Jennifer Crumbley allegedly being a helicopter mom, where we know that was not true. We do not believe that. So that's that article. They do have a brief video on it. Let's see. I'm letting the ad go. It's like a long ad. Ten more seconds. It's a long ad.
Begin tonight with the verdict. A Michigan mother found guilty on all 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter in her son Ethan Crumbley's deadly shooting rampage at school. The first parent ever to be convicted in their child's deadly school shooting. Jennifer Crumbley seated in that courtroom hearing the verdict, guilty on all 4 counts. Her attorney visibly shaken. Crumbley simply bowing her head. Tonight, the jurors, some of whom are parents, others who are gun owners, not taking these deliberations lightly. And what the jury foreperson said after the verdict. ABC's Trevor Ault leading us off at the courthouse in Michigan tonight. Tonight in Michigan, that historic verdict.
We find the defendant guilty of involuntary manslaughter. Guilty of involuntary manslaughter. Guilty of involuntary manslaughter. Guilty of involuntary manslaughter.
Jennifer Crumbley guilty of those 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, one for each of the students her son murdered at Oxford High School in 2021. She is the first parent in the U.S. ever held criminally liable for their child's school shooting. The jury, comprised of 6 men, 6 women, some parents, some gun owners, deliberating for 11 hours over 2 days, determining Crumbley failed in her duty as a parent, ignoring the signs of her son's deteriorating mental health and gifting him the gun he used in the shooting. The defense argued it was her husband James's responsibility to secure the weapon, but the jury foreperson saying after the verdict, the thing that really hammered it home is that she was the last adult with the gun. Prosecutors showing this video in court, Crumbley taking her son to the firing range.
You're the last adult to have possession of that gun.
Correct.
The shooter bringing that 9mm handgun to school just 3 days later. And even that morning, prosecutors said Crumbley had the chance to stop the shooting, called in for that meeting with her son's counselor, the school concerned about what was written on his math assignment. Crumbley never telling the school to look for a gun, the shooter opening fire hours later. Today, Crumbley sitting motionless, eyes down as the verdict was read, quickly escorted away in handcuffs. The judge thanking the jury.
We all know that this is one of the hardest things we've ever done.
Prosecutors shaking hands and hugging the families of the victims. And tonight, Craig Shilling, whose son Justin was killed, with this message to Jennifer Crumbley.
You wouldn't have to go through any of this if you would have just done your job as a parent. So we had a chance to do it, and you didn't. And now it's your time.
Jennifer Crumbley's sentencing is now set for April, and her husband James will stand trial in March. David, this is really a landmark moment for parents, given what this jury decided, that a parent can be held responsible for a child's school shooting. David, Trevor Oldley.
Okay, I just wanted to play that video just so you could kind of hear in their own words what I kind of summarized over this time about what happened in the case. There are other videos on the Hidden Horror Facebook page that I have shared, and they're mainly some of the victims' families. And then also I shared a video about James Crumbley and just them looking ahead at his trial next month. What can he learn? I believe he does have more emotion and care versus his wife, Jennifer Crumbley. But I think that they're saying strategy-wise, what could he do differently because he's up next? And the main points that I would say is, he purchased the gun. They purchased the bullets. They didn't properly store the gun. Does he have regret for what happened? Do he feel that, they could have prevented this? Was he doing, everything that he could within the family dynamics to keep the gun locked away, stored away, separate from the bullets, wanting to keep everyone safe and protected from this potentially happening. So we will see, right? The trial will be here in a few weeks. So I just wanted to share all of that information, give you my input on the verdict for Jennifer Crumbley, and I want to thank the jurors. Thank you for filtering through all of the complicated law, because it was very complicated. I had to try to detail and kind of explain it in a layman's way. And then I also feel like you took the time out, you asked the questions. You were concerned about Ethan and him not testifying, but he was not going to testify because he's appealing his case. I'm sure Jennifer Crumbley is going to appeal this verdict. I'm not sure how far it's going to get us because the Supreme Court had already ruled that she could be prosecuted for involuntary manslaughter because of the evidence that the prosecutor put on at the preliminary hearing, that there was substantial evidence, not just a small amount, but substantial evidence to demonstrate involuntary manslaughter. So I'm not sure how far she can get. I know they can look at a couple of angles. Um, they can look at ineffective counsel. They may want to look at the fact that the video of the shooting was played to the jurors. And I didn't see it, of course, but what I hear was everybody was in the courtroom crying, from the jurors to the prosecutor to the defense to the victims' families, everybody in the gallery. So they may want to consider that. I don't think they use that to make their ruling, make their verdict. They're saying that they're going off the video. The video was a couple of days, 3 days before the mass shooting. I didn't go off of the video per se. I went off a totality of all the circumstances, and I also kind of assessed the fact that when she locked him out the night before the shooting, that's when he said, "This is the day." He picked that day. He said he was going to do it in the video. And that was about 10:05 p.m. the night before. And it triggered something. And she said she took his gun away. I don't know if they didn't lock it away or if she didn't lock it away. I'm not sure about the exact circumstance because they didn't ask a lot of those questions, how she stored it away and things like that. Because she could just lie, she can lie and say, "Oh, we did this," and it really didn't happen. So I guess that's why they didn't ask her. But I look at the totality of everything, and I want to just go over something that was kind of brought up. I had been questioned about the foreseeability of this happening. And I was kind of going over like a list of all the things that you could foresee, with the mental health, the decline in mental health, saying that he's depressed, purchasing the gun and the bullets. And I want people to know that you don't have to foresee a specific action. Like, say, Ethan Crumbley is going to go to Oxford and have this mass shooting and shoot 4 victims. No, it's not like that. It has to be the foreseeability that there is that type of threat that something could happen, but you don't have to know what the specific threat is. So when I look at foreseeability, it has to be reasonable foreseeability. I look at all of the circumstances, his mental health declining, the loss of the dog, the loss of the grandmother, the loss of his friend, his mental state, never receiving any help, never receiving any counseling, all of his writings in school, his drawings in school, his mindset, the fact that he was left alone, the fact that he was having hallucinations. I'm looking at every single action, the torturing of the birds, the cutting off of the head of the bird, his thoughts about him wanting to kidnap a small child and drown them. His thoughts about, Jeffrey Dahmer, he didn't get away with it. That was his only mistake. All of these thoughts, the thoughts of wanting to do the mass shooting, wanting to cause harm, wanting to kill as many people as he could, wanting the Pacific gun because it was more powerful, that it would hurt more people. Just so many things in his life I'm looking at. When you take all of these things going on, is it foreseeable that this is possible, that this threat is possible, that he could take some action? I think so, because not just that these were his thoughts. When they introduced the gun, they bought him a gun and bullets. That made it way more foreseeable, not just thoughts in drawings, in writings, in journals. The purchase of the gun by the parents for him made it more foreseeable. You don't have to agree with me, you don't have to like it or whatever, but those are my opinions. So that is all for this video. I want to let you know that I am going to bring you an update on Ernest Williams. Ernest Williams was Shirley Strawberry's husband. There's been some movement going on with him, and I gotta bring you a video and talk about it, but that would be a shorter video. And then again, I'm gonna bring you the little update on Ethan Crumbley and what's going on with him and how I plan on reaching out after his birthday in April, late April, to just check on him, see how he's doing, and just show some support and love. And then we will then turn our focus over these next couple of weeks back to the Idaho 4. I want to complete my mini series. I have about 4 to 5 more videos, and it will be complete. So you can look forward to seeing that. Right now, I'm not sure if I have any more updates on any of my other cases right now. I don't think so, and I check pretty regularly. So now that I've finished my space, and guys, you can take a quick look at show you. So that's from Sean Combs' case, and I got my sign, and then I set up the bed. So it's a bedroom, but it's my temporary office. This is not my permanent office space. It's just a temporary space that I'm using right now until I completely do an overhaul of the office, which will also have a bed. We'll have a maybe like a full or queen size bed, just in case I have a guest over. But this is one of my smaller bedrooms, and I'm just using this space for a short while. But I wanted to, make it a little bit more comfortable while I'm here. But all of this will be snatched out, and my printers and scanners and all the fax, all that stuff will be put into my real office when I complete it. I have everything I need. I just have to complete it, as well as other projects I'm working on. And as you know, I'm very busy. So you can look for the Ernest Williams update, and then me turning to the Idaho 4, and then me bringing you an update maybe tomorrow. Let me see. I might have time tomorrow to bring you an update on Ethan Crumbley. It's just letting you know what facility he's in, and we might talk a little bit more about his case. I'm not sure if I want to bring up some of the stuff, but I do want to express just how I feel, we can show some concern for him and just encourage him, because he's going through this process, potentially of both his parents being in prison also. And he doesn't have his paternal grandmother. I'm not sure how much support he has. He's gonna need some support. So we're gonna lift him up in prayer, as well as all of the people in the Oxford community, the victims that are going day by day, moving forward with their life, as well as the victims' families. Okay, so please, thank you for taking the time to spend with me tonight. I so much appreciate it. And we just want to again thank the jurors for their service, for their due diligence, for taking the time out, flushing through the law, understanding how important it is to get this right. Not to set a precedent, because it's not about setting a precedent, but getting it right for justice. Justice for the victims, justice for their families, and also the community. It's important that we uphold good standards so we can try to prevent this from happening again in the community. So thank you for your service, your jury service. You did an excellent job. Plus the 5 alternates that was sequestered. Thank you also for the time you spent over these days going through the evidence, listening to the testimony. Thank you so much. Friends, remember, please be safe, be smart, be savvy, be well. My friends, take care. I will see you soon. I'm sending you love, hugs, and be well. Take care. See you soon. Bye, everybody. Bye.